a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That fella bites hard, but it don't get the crown. Hold on, stay with me now.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports. It is Saturday, May 9th. 2-2-1 on the show yesterday. We sprayed the board. It was a mixed bag. We did get the win with the under in the first 5, Anaheim and Toronto. The full game went way under. It was a 2-0 final. I think it was 1-0 going to... It might have been 2-0 already at the end of the 5th, but we still got that under 4. Minnesota-Cleveland was a push, and then that game did go over. Full game. We had the first 5 under, but I was thinking, oh, man, if this game goes under... It almost looked like it was about to go under full game. That's the situation you don't want. But at least it was a push and not a loss. But then the full game did go over, so I'm like, okay. I feel smarter about that. The final, I think, landed 10, but we pushed in the first 5. I think it was a 4-0 game going into the 5th. I don't know. Seattle and the White Sox was just out of control right away. That game went way over the total, but it was not what it looked like. I mean, we had it wrong. But you look at the box score of that game, dude. The teams combined for 20 runs on 22 hits. You rarely see that. Like, every single base runner is going to score in the game. Is that really what you're going to tell me? Like, it got to a point where the teams had already scored 10 runs and they had combined for like 7 hits or something like that. Like, you never see that. Scoring more runs than the amount of hits. Everybody that reached base scored in that game. It was ridiculous. We got an easy win with the Montreal Canadiens, my grandfather's team. So we did get that right. That was easy. Statistically, the game probably wasn't exactly what it looked like, but it was a blowout win for Montreal. So nice armchair winner there. And then I am pissed about the Minnesota T-Wolves, man. They absolutely could have covered that number. They were hanging around in that game the whole way. And then if you look at the box score, they could have won the game outright. If you look at the box score, they had like 12 more field goal attempts than the Spurs did. Like, statistically, there's no way they should have lost that game by any sort of margin. I think they lost by 7, maybe 8. I'm not happy about that at all. Statistically, it looked like a Minnesota cover. You don't have that many more field goal attempts than your opponent and wind up losing the game by a margin like that. It just doesn't usually happen. So I don't think that one was the wrong call. I think that one was a correct handicap and just a bad loss. So we have not done very well in the NBA playoffs, and I'm pissed about it because I usually kill the NBA playoffs. Last year was really good. This year, I think we're 1 or 2 games below 500, which is not good. We can still try to turn it around, but we're going to be probably close to 500 throughout the playoffs. I am going to give out a playoff bet as well today. I'm going to have 3 baseball plays. We're going to jump into the WNBA. I'm going to give out 1 play there. I'm going to give out a hockey play, and I'm going to give out an NBA play today. 6 plays. Let's not lose too much money here. Charles, what's up? Sparrow, what's up? All right. I'm going to try to do this, man. I want to find a way to do this faster. I don't know. We have games that start in the later-ish afternoon in baseball. Anaheim at Toronto was the first game. Toronto won last night 2-0. We got the first 5 under correct in that game. Starting pitching was good. Bullpens are actually good, which is strange because I don't think either of these bullpens is that good, especially not Anaheim. Anaheim used 4 relief pitchers, it looks like. Toronto used 2. Although sometimes they bring in guys that are just not listed as being bullpen arms as well. But this at least shows you like how many bullpen arms are going to be available. It's not a horrible thing here for either team. But Toronto has had the better bullpen. They're 13th right now. I arranged this by whip. Anaheim is bad, 27th, one of the worst ERAs as well. Hitting-wise, Anaheim is better than Toronto. They're 14th. Toronto is 25th. Although I still kind of expect Toronto to get better in that department. Jack Kohanowitz is going to pitch for Anaheim today. He's actually been a lot better. He seems to be improving. After he looked like he was going to be out of baseball, so he has turned it around. 3.05 ERA, 1.21 whip. He's been not so good on the road, though. 4.18 road ERA. Pitched pretty well in his last outing, but it was against the Mets. Very bad offense, and he did walk 3 guys, so I'm still not ready to, fully jump on board this train here with Kohanowitz, but he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of his outings except his first one. He does not strike guys out, 30 strikeouts in 41 in the third innings, only 29 hits allowed, but he still has walk issues. 21 walks is not good, so that is a concern. Against Toronto, he does not have good numbers. 40 at-bats, 2.2 strikeout walk ratio, 350 average allowed, 806 OPS. I'm not going to really trust Kohanowitz, although you do have to admit that he is pitching better this year, better than what those numbers against Toronto make it look like. Like when he was pitching, those numbers are from like his past when he wasn't pitching as well, because I don't believe he's faced Toronto this year, although I could be wrong. No, he did. My mistake. He held Toronto to 1 run in 5 2/3 innings on April 21st. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much weight I would put into his bad matchup numbers here because he did actually pitch okay in that game, except for 2 walks and 1 strikeout, not being a good ratio there. But he's also going to have to go up against Trey Savage, who is the better pitcher here. 0.96 ERA, 1.29 whip is not very good, but he's only made 2 starts so far this year. He does have a 0 home ERA right now, but that was 1 start against the Red Sox. He was not as good in his last start. He went to Minnesota, walked 3 guys, only lasted 4 innings. He's a good pitcher, though. He's a talented young pitcher. He's still only 22 years old, and he had some really good starts last year, although he did have some pretty bad ones as well. He's a bit of a mixed bag. Anaheim has had 2 hitters who have faced him. They're 1 for 4 lifetime with a single from Adam Frazier. They have 1 strikeout, no walks against him. I think the edge does go to Savage here, but it's a tough game to figure out, man. The money is indicating towards Anaheim. Toronto, 68% of tickets, 58% of the cash. Toronto's very heavily favored, though, around the minus 180 range. Like, does a young pitcher like Savage, like, should he be that much of a favorite here? I don't know about that. I mean, Toronto does have the better bullpen. They haven't had the better hitting. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think the price is probably a little bit too high there. There is some money coming in towards the under, total at 8.5. I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that. And both of these pitchers are definitely capable of putting together a good performance here. I would worry about the bullpens again, though. I might think first 5 inning under again, maybe. I don't know, man. I mean, that's not a game that I want anything to do with. Dirty Sock, what's up? Strickland, is he fighting tonight? I don't know what's going on in the UFC. I would not bet on Strickland, though. A's and Baltimore. Baltimore lost the game yesterday 4-3. They were returning home from a road trip, so I talk about this. We have a few teams in a spot like this today. When a team returns home from a road trip, a lot of times they're distracted. They have to get back to home life. Bad things can happen. And then if they play badly in that game, a lot of times they bounce back in the next game. So Baltimore could potentially be in that spot, in a positive spot. But then you start digging into this. The pitching matchup does not look very good for Baltimore, so I'm not going to be doing that. Baltimore didn't use any relief pitchers. They actually did use 1 guy out of the bullpen yesterday, but he was somebody who's been in their starting rotation. I think it was that young guy they had start the other day. Gibson, I think is his name, whatever. I think he came out of the bullpen yesterday. So their bullpen is rested, so you can give them that. A's used a lot of bullpen arms yesterday. They used 5, and they do not have a good bullpen. So Baltimore does have a bullpen advantage here. Even though their bullpen's not good, they're ranked 18th. The A's are 26th. So we're looking at some not very good bullpens there. Hitting-wise, the A's are 7th. I arranged this by OPS. Orioles are 17th. Both teams do have the ability to hit. Aaron Cavaliers is pitching for the A's. I actually think he has the upper hand here. He does have a good ERA, 2.95. His whip is not that good, 1.34. So his ERA should be higher than this, but he's been a decent pitcher the last couple of years. Really throughout his career, he's kind of been, he's a journeyman pitcher, but he stays in the league for a reason. And he's better on the road, which makes sense because pitchers can't really pitch well in this A's stadium. Savale has a 2.57 road ERA right now, which is good. He's coming off 2 pretty good outings in a row against Kansas City and Cleveland. Not really good offenses, though. He's faced a lot of weak offenses, but he did have a decent start against the Yankees and actually one against Atlanta as well in his first 2 starts. Since then, he hasn't really faced any offenses that are very good, though, although Baltimore's kind of a mediocre one. Savale's got 27 strikeouts, 10 walks. Doesn't strike a lot of guys out. He hasn't put a ton of guys on base. 39 hits in 36 and 2/3 innings. It's too many hits, but it's not that bad. I don't like that he's not really a huge strikeout guy, but he does, kind of go under the radar because of that, and he's certainly a capable pitcher, and he has good numbers against Baltimore in 42 at-bats, 15-3 strikeout walk ratio, 190 batting average allowed, 547 OPS. Those are good numbers, and whenever I look at this, we're looking at the active roster on the opposing team, so this is like, because some guys will tell you, I don't buy into, this starting pitcher does bad against this team or does well against this team. Yeah, that doesn't matter as much because teams, have turnover and they have different players every year. But that's why you look at this. ESPN gives you the batter versus pitcher stats against those specific hitters. That's a better indicator because then you're focusing on the actual matchups that are going to be happening. You know what I mean? And baseball, I think, is kind of this discrete sport where I think those matchup numbers do matter. So, yeah. That's what I have to say about that. Savale does have good matchup numbers here. Shane Baz is pitching for Baltimore. He hasn't been that good. 4.99 ERA, 1.54 whip is pretty bad. He's been a little bit better at home, 4.5 ERA. Pretty bad start last time out against the Yankees, especially 5 walks in 5 2/3 innings in that game. That was not good. He got knocked around a bit in that game. Overall, his strikeout rate has gone down a bit from what it was last year, 33 strikeouts in 39 2/3 innings. And on top of that, he's allowed 16 walks, which is really bad, and 45 hits as well. He's putting way too many guys on base, dude, although he hasn't really allowed as many runs as you would think. But I don't know. He's been not great and consistently not great. His numbers against the A's are not too bad, though. In 57 at-bats, 18 strikeouts, 3 walks, 228 batting average allowed, 705 OPS. Langoliers hits him pretty well, 4 for 10 with 2 doubles and a home run. A's don't really have anybody else that does that amount of damage to him. Still, I don't know. I think I lean slightly A's here. Baltimore's about a minus 120-something favorite here. Looks like A's are getting the money, 68% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. I think Savale might have the matchup edge here and might be the preferable of the 2 pitchers there, getting him as an underdog. I would probably do it first 5, though, because as I showed you, I think Baltimore does have a pretty big bullpen edge here. So it's one of those games where I think the starting pitching is in opposition to the bullpen advantage. So I don't want to do anything with the game, though. Next game up will be a play for me, Fox Sports 1, Houston at Cincinnati. You might be able to figure out what this is because Cincinnati is in one of those spots where they returned home from a road trip. They lost every game on the road trip. And while, yes, I think Cincinnati's not as good as their record looks, I think we now have reached a point where the stock is very low on Cincinnati. After it was too high, I think it's completely swung in the other direction now that they've lost 8 games in a row or whatever this is. And they're in one of those spots where they returned home from a road trip yesterday and they got absolutely annihilated, 10-0. So I think they're going to be in bounce back mode, dude. That is an embarrassing home loss. And we're talking about, they're facing Houston here, dude. Cincinnati's going to score more runs this time. You would have to think. Houston's pitching is bad. I know Cincinnati's is not good either. I'm not saying otherwise, but I think Cincinnati is certainly capable of winning this game, especially when you look at what the pitching matchup is. Cincinnati used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Their bullpen is not good, though. Houston used 2, but Houston has the worst bullpen in baseball, both in ERA and in WHIP. Houston, really, really bad. They're ranked 30th. The Reds are ranked 29th in bullpen, though. But their ERA is almost, it's like a run and a half better than Houston's is. So Cincinnati still does have the better bullpen. Hitting-wise, Houston is the way better team. I'm not denying that, but we're going with the better pitching to limit Houston's hitting here. Houston's ranked 5th right now in offense. Cincinnati, not good at 23rd. But this is about the spot and the starting pitching matchup. Spencer Arrighetti is pitching for Houston. His numbers look good. 1.96 ERA. He's 4-0. His hair looks good, Yeah, I'm not going to deny any of that, but people like this guy because of the way that he looks and because he throws hard. He gets a lot of strikeouts, but I think that's going to overrate him in this game, man. He's got a 1.3 whip, which is not really that good. He's not quite as good on the road, 2.7 ERA, so you can at least get to him a little more on the road. And yes, I know he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any of his starts so far. Houston's won all 4 of them. I get that. But the only one that was against a good offense was the Yankees. And yes, he did stifle the Yankees, but you have to worry about these walk numbers, dude. The Yankees start was the only start where he walked fewer than 4. You cannot walk 4 guys in every outing and keep getting away with it, man. I'm sorry. 23 innings pitched for him, 16 hits allowed, that's good. 25 strikeouts, that's good. But he is wild. 14 walks, that's not good. And Cincinnati, most of their hitters have actually seen him, or at least 6 of them have. Blade actually dominates him, 6 for 10 with 3 doubles. But overall, they have a 9 for 18 clip against him, 5 doubles against him, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks. It's a 500 average, 1328 OPS. I'm not convinced that Arrighetti's going to actually pitch well here, man. And in fact, I prefer not only the situation for Cincinnati, but I prefer Chase Burns, who I think is a more solidified pitcher already for the Reds here. I mean, Burns is younger than Arrighetti, and Burns is already, his career is already on a better trajectory, in my opinion, even though Arrighetti's looked pretty good this season. He's taken a while to even get to this point. Burns already is really good. And at this point, I think he's under the radar, and the Reds, while they're not that good, I think the stock is pretty low on the Reds at this point. By the way, yes, I forgot. This is a best bet. And the Reds are a heavy enough favorite. We do have to split bet this, -1.5 run line at +138, and the rest of it on the money line at about -150. If you want to just go money line with it and lay a bunch of juice, I'm not going to disagree with that either. But I'm splitting it up, so it comes out to about a -105 number here. Yeah, so this is the breakdown here. If we're doing it out of 100, 63 or so of it go on the money line part of it, and then whatever that returns, you put that amount on the money or on the run line part of it. So if they win by 1, it'll push. Burns has a 2.2 ERA, 1.02 WHIP. Not to be confused with Corbin Burns, by the way, who's still injured. I think he's still in Arizona. I don't know if he's coming back. Chase Burns, though, yes, he's not as good at home, I know, 2.82 ERA. This is a more hitter-friendly ballpark, I understand, whatever. But Burns, I mean, he's only allowed more than 2 earned runs once this season as well in an off-home start against Anaheim, and that is skewing his home numbers as well. Looks like it was more of a fluke. His overall numbers are more digestible than Arrighetti's. He's gone 41 innings. He's only allowed 29 hits. He's got 46 strikeouts, so he strikes out a lot of guys as well. And he only has 13 walks. So he only has like 1 more walk than Arrighetti does in like way more innings pitched so far. Yeah, so I prefer Burns here. Burns is also completely unknown to Houston, so he has the unfamiliarity factor here as well. And again, even though Cincinnati's bullpen has been bad recently, Houston's is such an atrocious bullpen. I think every team has a bullpen edge against Houston. So, yeah, the Reds should put up more than 0 runs this time. And they hopefully don't have to score that many in backing of Burns here. So let's get it done. And yeah, this game is probably going to be lower scoring as well. I will admit that. The total is at 8.5. I don't really have that good of an opinion on the total, though. But yes, we are going with Cincinnati. It looks like we have 80% of the tickets on Houston. The public looks like they're on Houston, and Houston, not a particularly good team this year. 54% of the cash, so I think the real money is backing Cincinnati here. For all those reasons, it's one of those situations I like where we get situation and matchup both are in our favor here, so let's do it. Starting pitching matchup, I mean. Cincinnati is the play. All right. De La Cruz, yeah, I mean, does he get a lot of stolen bases? I presume he does. Mr. Burns, yeah. Hopefully, I don't know. I was going to try to find some joke about referencing the baseball episode where Mr. Burns puts together the baseball team. I don't fucking know. Tampa Bay at Boston. My Red Sox got a good outing yesterday from Connolly early. He dominated, dude. Red Sox got the win yesterday, so these teams have split the series so far. Red Sox with a 2-0 win yesterday. You know, Tampa, they're pretty good, but I think they're not as good as their record looks, as I've been saying. Like their run differential would indicate that they should be above 500, but not as far above 500 as they are. Red Sox may be starting to turn this around, man. The Red Sox are now going with this like young pitching rotation. They actually have a lot of young pitching depth, even though I'm going to continue to complain that they got rid of Kyle Harrison because he is pitching today as well, and we're going to talk about that later. Red Sox used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. They did use Chapman, though, because it was a save situation. But he hadn't pitched in days. Tampa looks like they used nobody out of the bullpen. I think they did use one arm out of the bullpen, but it was somebody that's not actually listed as being in their bullpen. I don't even know. Nick Martinez pitching for Tampa Bay. Or actually, wait a minute, my mistake. Bullpen-wise, yeah. Boston, 7th in bullpen. Tampa Bay is 10th. So Tampa Bay has really improved their bullpen recently. So I would say the Red Sox do have a little bit of a bullpen edge, but it's not much. Hitting, Tampa Bay has an edge here. They're 18th. The Red Sox are 28th. They really got to turn that around, man. Nick Martinez pitching for Tampa. He's been good this season. 1.71 ERA, 1.02 whip. I mean, he's a decent pitcher. You look at his numbers overall, not bad, but his career numbers are not this good. So there is going to be some regression here, man, from a 35-year-old Martinez. It's just a question of when that is going to happen. He's been good on the road, although slightly less good, 1.85 ERA. He is pitching well. I mean, he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in any outing. He's faced a number of really weak offenses in here, though. He had kind of a shaky start against the Yankees, which is obviously the best offense that he faced, even though he only allowed 1 run in that outing, and they actually won the game. But he did walk 3 guys. He's got 28 strikeouts in 42 innings, not a high strikeout rate. But yes, he's not putting a lot of guys on base at all. 33 hits, 10 walks, that's all good. However, the Red Sox have seen a decent amount of him, and they've hit him pretty well. 41 career at-bats, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. I mean, that's a good ratio there for him, but 390 average, allowed 1,015 OPS. Red Sox are definitely capable of getting to him, and the Red Sox are going with Peyton Tolle, who is putting up good numbers so far this year. 2.04 ERA, 0.74 whip. He's been good at home, 1.5 ERA. He's only made 3 starts so far. 1 was not good on the road against Toronto. His other 2 starts were against the better offenses, the Yankees and Detroit, and he did really well in those starts. He's got a 23-6 strikeout walk ratio and only 7 hits allowed in 17 2/3 innings. He's pitching well, man. He's coming off of 1 hitting Detroit and unfortunately 2 unearned runs scored while he was out there. Not his fault at all, but the Red Sox won the game anyway, and he picked up a win, which that might have been, was that his first career win? I'm not sure. Yes, it was. So congratulations. First career win. Tampa Bay, only Fortes has ever faced him before, and he's 1 for 1 with a single. So yeah, Tolle has an unfamiliarity edge here. I am going to lean to the Red Sox here. I think they have the starting pitching edge. not a play for me or anything. Hopefully they can get it done because they are my team. Red Sox look like the money is kind of agreeing with that. Tampa's got 69% of tickets, only 63% of the cash, and you can see the Red Sox are favored at about minus 150 something. Well, why are the Red Sox favored like that against a team with a significantly better record, right? The odds makers are telling you the Red Sox are actually probably the better team here and have the better of the pitching matchup here. That is what's going into that number there. You know, the odds makers are not just giving you free money. So, reading into that number a little bit does kind of indicate that it looks like the odds makers are telling you the Red Sox should win that game. So that's what's going on there. Hopefully that's correct. I'm just going to root for them as a fan. Washington at Miami. Miami lost yesterday 3-2. I'm kind of pissed because that was one of my stronger leans, which was a first 5 under. Although actually, no, I'm not pissed because that was a loss. All 5 runs in the game came home in the first inning, and then no runs scored after that. But it was also extremely misleading because the teams only combined for 11 hits in the entire game. It's ridiculous that all 5 runs scored in the first inning. Imagine if you had a full game over in that one, 5 runs in the first inning, and then you lose the bet. Oh, man. But yes, we actually would have lost because I would have gone first 5 in that one probably. I think that was what my recommendation was. Anyway, bullpen usage. Washington, not a good bullpen, by the way. They only used 2 relievers yesterday. Miami used 3, but Miami does have the better bullpen. They're actually ranked 4th in bullpen. Washington is 21st. Pretty significant bullpen edge for Miami. Washington has the better hitting. They're 9th right now. Miami 21st. Miami's definitely fallen off. Starting pitching, though, just on the surface, you got to think Miami's starting pitcher is the better one. Zach Littell is pitching for Washington. He has been pretty awful. 7.24 ERA, 1.61 whip. He's been a little bit better on the road. 6.59 road ERA, but this is some bad stuff here, man. He's got 17 strikeouts and 12 walks and 40 hits allowed and just a ridiculous 13 home runs allowed in 32 and a third innings. You have to be kidding me with that number. That has to be the most in baseball right now. He's allowing almost 1 home run every 2 innings, basically. That's unbelievable. I would not trust Littell, although the home runs tend to be a little bit fluky, but it does mean he's putting too many pitches over the plate. They're hittable pitches. People are hitting them in the air. You know, his numbers against Miami are actually good, though. They only have 14 at-bats against him. They have no extra base hits, only 1 strikeout, no walks, 143 average, 286 OPS. So while Littell has been awful this season, this might be a matchup where he might actually pitch a little bit better. And Miami is a more hitter-friendly ballpark, so he might allow fewer home runs than this one. But Jansen Junk is pitching for Miami. He's pitching well. 2.82 ERA, 1.04 whip. He's been good at home, 2.63 home ERA. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to dislike about what he's done so far. Not a high strikeout rate. That's the only thing you can really say. 27 strikeouts in 38 and a third innings, 8 walks, 32 hits allowed. So he's definitely not putting guys on base. He's not allowing a lot of runs. He's only allowed more than 2 earned runs twice this season, and that includes, a good start last time out against the Phillies, although they haven't been hitting well this year. He went on the road and shut out the Dodgers for 6 innings. And by the way, we lost on Miami in that last game because Miami's hitting didn't do their part at all. Junk does not have great numbers against Washington, though. They only have 4 hitters who have faced him, but 16 at-bats. They have some extra base hits in there, 375 average allowed, 1132 OPS. So his matchup numbers aren't good. So if you buy into the matchup numbers, they actually favor Littell, believe it or not. I would not want to do that, though. The money is coming in on Miami. I mean, the matchup numbers that we're looking at are such a small sample size that I think you have to weigh that less than what are these pitchers doing right now. And Junk has clearly been the better pitcher. Plus, Miami has a better bullpen. Plus, Miami's in a bounce-back spot. Miami was not returning home from a road trip, but they really haven't been playing well. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games, but they're certainly capable of beating Washington at home with a pitching matchup like this, and Miami's favored pretty significantly here. Washington's not a good team, dude. 53% of tickets, 64% of the cash on Miami. They're in the minus 150s, which I know that's a bit of a price to lay. I'm not sure that junk should really be that much of a favorite. The money is also indicating towards the under in this game. Not quite sure that I would want to go in that direction. It's a tough call, dude, because the matchup numbers don't really coincide with what these pitchers have done this year. I think I would lean to Miami, though. The money seems to be agreeing with it. It'd have to be a money line, run line split situation or something like that. I don't want anything to do with it, though. But I think just current form, I think, matters more than these small sample size matchup numbers. Colorado at Philadelphia. I don't know. There's an art to it, man. Philadelphia lost yesterday 9-7. That's pretty embarrassing. Losing to the Rockies. Philadelphia, pretty big favorite here. Yesterday, they had a very inexperienced pitcher on the mound, though, Banter, so he didn't do very well, I would assume. I haven't really looked at the box score. But Philadelphia's the better team. They're a huge favorite here. You got to think they're going to bounce back. Colorado used a lot of relievers yesterday, but so did Philly. Colorado used 5. Philadelphia used 6. So this is a situation where you want to fade these bullpens. They're not even good bullpens either. They're ranked 19th and 20th, respectively, Colorado and Philly. Philly's ERA is a little bit better, though. Hitting-wise, Colorado's been the better offense. They're 6th offensively. Some of that because they hit better at home, though, and they're not at home here. Philadelphia, 24th offensively, not good. Even though, again, their lineup should turn that around to some extent. Kyle Freeland is pitching for Colorado. He hasn't been great. 5.04 ERA, 1.36 whip. He's been better on the road. Of course, pitching in Coors Field is difficult. He's got a 4.4 road ERA. And he was actually pitching pretty well until he got lit up in his last start by the Braves in Colorado. So that was one of the best offenses in baseball this year in the most hitter-friendly ballpark. So you might argue that was a little bit of a fluke. He did have a lot of strikeouts in the outing. The rest of his numbers are not bad. 24-8 strikeout walk ratio and 26 hits allowed in 25 innings. None of that jumps out at me as being bad. So I don't really think Freeland is that bad, and he is better on the road at least. His numbers against Philly are actually good as well, in a huge 148 at-bat sample size. 42-9 strikeout walk ratio, 230 average allowed, 625 OPS. So this is a decent matchup for him, man. So I'm not really, I'm not running to fade Freeland here. Aaron Nola is pitching for the Phillies, and we faded him in his last outing, and he pitched well against Miami. Nola is really a mystery because he was good throughout his career, and then he had Tommy John surgery or whatever and did not bounce back from it really last year. But it makes him really difficult to predict because he has some really good starts mixed in there, and he has other starts where he does not look good. He's got a 5.06 ERA, 1.45 whip. Those are obviously not good numbers. He's been a little bit worse at home, 5.4 home ERA. He did shut out Miami for 6 innings last time out and did not walk anybody. So that was a very good-looking start after he had a few really shaky starts in a row. But he had faced the Cubs and the Braves, so then he stepped down in class to face Miami. He faced Colorado earlier this year in Coors Field, and he pitched really well in that outing. He went 6 1/3, gave up 1 earned run, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk. So obviously he is capable of beating Colorado. His numbers are good against them. 72 at-bats, 30 strikeouts, and 2 walks against them. That is a ridiculous ratio and a ridiculous strikeout rate. 236 batting average allowed, 687 OPS. So, yeah, to me, it looks like both starting pitchers could actually do well here. And I want to check to see if Freeland did not actually face Philly during that series. He did not show up in the rotation there. This game, I would lean first 5 under in this game. It might sound crazy. I don't want anything to do with the bullpens, but 72% of tickets, 65% of the cash on the over. So the money kind of indicating towards the under. Total 8.5 for the full game. First 5 under makes some sense to me in that one, man. I think both starting pitchers might actually do well in that one. 76% of tickets and only 64% of the money on Philly at about a minus 185, minus 180 price there. I mean, it does seem like Philly is overpriced with that number there. Like, I don't know if you could trust Nola that much, such that he should be favored to that extent. You know what I mean? So I think the money's coming in towards Colorado just because of the value perspective of it. But on the other hand, I think Philly is embarrassed with the fact they lost to Colorado yesterday. And a lot of times the team that is the better team will bounce back from that, after being upset in the previous game. Kind of like a zigzag. All right, Minnesota at Cleveland. This game, we pushed on the first 5 under in yesterday's game, and then the game wound up going over with some late runs there. You can't trust Minnesota's bullpen, man. You really cannot. Cleveland wound up winning the game 6-4. A lot of it because of Minnesota's bullpen not getting the job done. And usually they don't. Minnesota had used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Gomez only for 2 pitches, though. Cleveland also used 4. I don't really trust Cleveland's bullpen either, even though they're ranked 12th. Their ERA is above 4, which worries me a bit. Minnesota's is horrendous, though. Their ERA is close to 6. They're ranked 28th, and I think they're worse than that. I think they're probably the second worst bullpen in baseball to Houston at this point. Very, very bad. Cleveland's hitting has not been very good, though. They are 20th in hitting. Minnesota is 12th. So, yeah, I think I agree. Minnesota is the better offense. Joe Ryan is pitching for Minnesota. I thought he was injured, but apparently not because he's pitching, I think, on schedule here. 3.72 ERA, 1.06 whip. I mean, we know he's a very good pitcher. He's Minnesota's ace. He's well established. He's not been as good on the road this year, though. 4.64 road ERA. Now, it looks like he did get hurt because he came out. He was 9 pitches into his last outing against Toronto, and they took him out of the game. So there was obviously some sort of injury going on there, but he is pitching on his normal scheduled rest here. And you could argue, he's extra rested and on schedule still because he got ready for that game, made the start technically, and now he's pitching on normal rest. For a veteran like him, I don't think it matters that much, though, even though pitchers are creatures of habit. They want to stay on schedule. He's been good against Cleveland throughout his career. 103 at-bats, 18-7. Strikeout walk ratio is not that good, but 214 batting average allowed, 662 OPS. Yeah, I mean, I expect Ryan does pitch well here. Tanner Bybee is pitching for Cleveland. He's tough to figure out, dude. I mean, he was their ace a couple of years ago. He had a regression last year. This year, his numbers don't really look very good. 4.58 ERA, 1.47 whip. He's been really good at home, though. He has extreme home road splits. He has a 1.66 ERA at home. So you could definitely back him at home, at least in the right spots. Cleveland has lost 7 starts in a row of his, though. Now, last year, almost the opposite was going on. If you remember last year, he got so much run support from his offense last year that Cleveland was winning like every game that he was pitching, even when he wasn't pitching that well. Well, now, the opposite is happening. Or, we've seen when something like that is going on, you expect regression, and we've seen a ton of it here, but really he kind of doesn't deserve, this. Like, a lot of these starts, he's actually pitched fairly well, and the offense just hasn't done anything behind him. His numbers overall don't look that bad to me. 36 strikeouts is a little bit low in 39 to third innings. Usually he strikes more guys out than that. 16 walks is concerning. I will admit that. That's too many walks. 42 hits allowed is a bit too many as well. But these numbers, I don't think they're really that egregious, though. His numbers against Minnesota are pretty decent. In 69 at-bats, 15-6 strikeout walk ratio, 246 average, 707 OPS. So I actually think Bybee can actually pitch well here, and he pitches well at home this year, like I said. I think first 5 under is the opinion from me in this game as well, even though it was the same yesterday. Having a lot of deja vu today, I think. Where is this game? Here it is. The money's coming in towards Minnesota, by the way. Cleveland's about a minus 120 favorite here. But the fact that the odds makers are favoring Cleveland here kind of tells you they do respect Bybee a bit. I mean, Joe Ryan being an underdog, but the money's all coming in that way. 91% of the cash on Minnesota, 57% of the tickets on Cleveland. Again, I'm using wager talk here because pregame still has not fixed their screen. Absolutely unacceptable from pregame. Fuck them. You know, a lot of handicappers actually use their tool because it was the best free tool out there. Total for this game is at 8. We don't see the percentages here, but I think first 5 under does make sense in this game. The money coming out of Minnesota probably just thinking, like, how do you possibly get Joe Ryan as an underdog here? But it almost looks too easy. Kind of like what I said with Chris Sale yesterday, although Sale actually outpitched Emmett Sheehan, and then the Dodgers won that game late. So I don't know, man. Yeah, that's not a game I want anything to do with, but I think the under first 5 is my preference. Cubs at Texas. Texas is in one of those spots, like I said, with Cincinnati. Texas returned home from a road trip. They were coming off a couple of big series against Detroit and the Yankees, and then what happened? Yeah, they got blown out by the Cubs yesterday, 7-1. And I talk about that return home spot. Sometimes it's bad. You know, return home, you get distractions, whatever. Sometimes when that happens, you do bounce back and you play better in the next game. So Texas is in a positive situation, in my opinion. Texas used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They do have a good bullpen, but the Cubs also do. Cubs also used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, including the dictator, Assad. Cubs are 6th in bullpen right now. Rangers are 8th. But the Rangers, I believe, have the best bullpen ERA, and I think the Rangers are the better bullpen here. But the Cubs have a pretty good bullpen as well. Hitting-wise, the Cubs are obviously better. They're 3rd in hitting now. Texas is 26th. So there is a big offensive disparity here, but good pitching can even that out. And on the surface, yes, I do think the Cubs do have the better starting pitcher here, Edward Cabrera. He's been pretty good, 3.27 ERA. 1.28 whip is a little bit high. He tends to get a little bit wild, man. He's been good on the road, a 2.38 ERA, and this is a pitcher-friendly ballpark here in Texas. Cabrera seems to be very consistently allowing 3 earned runs in every single one of his outings, and the Cubs have won most of those outings because they have enough offensive firepower that they can certainly win those games. His overall numbers are pretty strong, 37 strikeouts in 41 1/3 innings. It's fine, although usually I expect more strikeouts out of him. 14 walks is really the concern. 39 hits allowed. 14 walks, that's too many walks. So that's his one issue, is he's too wild. Cabrera does not have good numbers against Texas, but it's basically all Brandon Nimmo doing it, though. So it's like, how much weight do you put into this? That Texas has 3 hitters that have faced him before. They have 21 at-bats. They have a 381 average against him, 980 OPS, 6 strikeouts, 8 walks, but 7 of the walks are Nimmo, who was on the Mets for a while and has done a lot of damage against them. Cabrera was on the Marlins, too, so they were in the same division. But, yeah, I think you should not put too much weight into this because Texas, overall, their lineup's not that good. And Cabrera is certainly capable of pitching well here. So, yeah, I don't think I would put that much weight into this. If he pitches around Nimmo, I think he should actually do okay here. Jack Leiter is pitching for Texas. He hasn't been very good. 5.45 ERA, 1.37 whip, although I think he's certainly capable of pitching well, and he has been better at home, 4.5 home ERA, where it is more pitcher-friendly. He had 10 strikeouts in his last outing against Detroit. He gave up 5 earned runs, which might not look good, but he got unlucky. He had 1 walk, 5 hits in that one, 10 strikeouts. That wasn't bad. He threw 100 pitches, though, so maybe he's a little bit tired after that, but he has done that otherwise this year, and he pitched okay in the next outing after that. He hasn't had it easy. He's had to face the Dodgers, the Yankees. So, I think Leiter is maybe not as bad as maybe his overall numbers would suggest. And when you dive into these season totals here, these numbers are not really that bad. He's got 43 strikeouts in 38 innings. He's got good strikeout stuff. 13 walks is a little high, but the high strikeout rate makes that ratio not bad. 39 hits in 38 innings. You'd like to see him be less hittable, but that's not that bad. So, yeah, I actually don't think Leiter is that bad. And the Cubs only have 9 at-bats against him, and they're 0 for 9 against him with 3 strikeouts and 1 walk. So I think Leiter is capable of pitching well here. I am going to lean to Texas here, although the money seems to be slightly against it. I think Texas has the capability of doing this, man. I think it's a close call, and they're an underdog here with the Cubs at about minus 130 something here. You're getting a decent Texas team where I think the matchup is close to even, in my opinion. As a home dog, in a positive situation, I would slightly lean that way, even though I think Cabrera is probably better than Leiter somewhat. 65% of tickets, 71% of the cash on the Cubs. Money slightly on the Cubs. The total's at 8.5. And, an under could be possibly a way to look at this as well. 88% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the under. You got a lot of unfamiliarity with both starting pitchers here and two good bullpens. So an under is certainly not out of the realm of possibility here, and that is probably an opinion that I would have in this game as well. Lean Texas and lean under for me in that game. All right. Detroit at Kansas City. Kansas City won the game yesterday 4-3, so, debatably a bounce-back spot for Detroit here, but when you look at what Detroit's pitching setup is today, I don't think you're going to like it. Detroit used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Kansas City used 4. Kansas City's bullpen has been pretty bad as well. They're 24th right now. Detroit hasn't been that good either, but their ERA is at least below 4 now, and they're 22nd. I'm going to give Detroit a little bit of a bullpen edge here. Detroit is the better offense as well at 9th, although Kansas City's moved up to 13th. So they've been a capable offense, and recently they've been hitting pretty well. Since they moved the walls in at home, it's been easier to hit in this ballpark, and Detroit has Birch Smith listed as their starting pitcher. I don't think this is going to go well. Detroit is going with a bullpen game, and we know Detroit, they are the kings of the bullpen game. We know that. They do bullpen games a lot. So they are used to this. They plan it, but they used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday or whatever. Smith is a 36-year-old, and you look at his career. Yeah, I don't know about this, man. He's been in the league off and on since 2013. He was actually out of Major League Baseball for 5 years. I don't know if maybe he went to another country or I don't know what the deal was. Came back into the league. He's only had like 2 really full seasons in the majors in 2018, and he was kind of a starting pitcher to some extent way back then. Hasn't made a start since then. And then he was a reliever. He did pitch a full season in 2024. Did not pitch in the majors in 2025. His career numbers do not inspire confidence. 5.6 ERA, 1.5 whip. But his numbers this year, 1.59 ERA, 1.15 whip. It's like, which Birch Smith are you going to get here, man? He's only pitched 11 1/3 innings so far. 16 strikeouts, 4 walks, 9 hits allowed. But he's only going to give you like 2 innings here, man. I mean, he's an opener. He's going to go 1 to 2 innings here would be my guess. That's what he's done all season. So you're going to get a bullpen game from Detroit. So act accordingly here. I'm not even quite sure that Smith is going to start the game. So this might be one of those games that it will be a game where if you have a good read on this game, basically knowing it's going to be a bullpen game for Detroit, it's a game where you might play and make an action bet on it. Michael Wacha is pitching for the Royals. Obviously, I prefer Wacha over whatever the hell Detroit is doing with their pitching here. Again, maybe I'm too old school. I don't like the bullpen games. Wacha has the 3.05 ERA, 1.06 whip. He's been a little bit worse at home, though, 3.54 ERA, but still pretty solid. He's a solid pitcher, dude, and he goes unheralded because he's not a strikeout guy. That's been the case throughout his career, man. You've been able to find value betting Wacha a lot of times because he's just not a flamethrower, but he gets the job done. He's had 1 bad start, basically, against Baltimore. It was at home, though. He actually pitched pretty well against the Yankees before that. Pitched well in his opener against the Braves. He's faced some good offenses, and then he struggled a bit on the road at the A's. We know that's a horrible ballpark. He bounced back pretty nicely with a pretty good start against Cleveland last time out. He's allowed 2 or fewer runs in all but those 2 outings against Baltimore and the A's. 36 strikeouts, 15 walks. It's not a great ratio. It is too many walks, but he's only allowed 32 hits in 44 1/3 innings. So, yeah, even though Wacha is a little bit of a walker, it's not that bad. He's going to be using a walker pretty soon, though, because he is pretty old. Detroit has hit him fairly well, though. 121 at-bats, 19-3 strikeout walk ratio is not bad for him, though. He doesn't walk guys against Detroit, at least. But throughout his career, he hasn't really walked that many guys. .281 batting average allowed, 745 OPS. So overall, those numbers, they're not horrible, but they're not great either. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't have a good read on this game, really. I still think I prefer Wacha over this Detroit bullpen game, but the money is all coming in on Detroit. It looks like 50-50 on the tickets, 92% of the cash on Detroit. I don't like it, man. And the total's at 9, I guess because of this new phenomenon in Kauffman Stadium where they moved the walls in. I don't know. Kansas City's about -134. I think I lean Kansas City. Maybe just first 5 so you don't have to deal with Kansas City's bullpen, but I think Wacha is still preferable to whatever the hell bullpen situation Detroit is doing. But do with that information what you want. Again, I think maybe I underrate the bullpen games too much as well. So that's what I think. Pre-game ritual, I don't know. I mean, I don't drink anymore. I don't even watch games. So, Mr. Pinsey, what's up? No, I mean, I was not good on the show yesterday. Flat Earth Grappler, what's up, man? UFC, I don't really do UFC, man. I mean, I take too much on as it is. I've made a few UFC bets in my life, but it has to be, like, I have to actually, like, focus on a particular fight and actually have a really good reason to deal with it. I don't know. It's an individual sport. It's a moneyline sport. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. But no, I don't know anything about the UFC card tonight. Tyson, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, so if you want UFC, you're going to be disappointed. Yankees at Milwaukee. This is going to be one of my plays. And then I have one more play somewhere in here. This one, you probably know what this is because you know how I am. This game is going to be an under. We're going to go under 7.5, Yankees, Milwaukee here. I don't mind the bullpens in this one, so I think we can leave them in. Yankees only used one guy out of the bullpen yesterday, so all their high-leverage bullpen arms are available. Milwaukee had an easy win yesterday. Same goes for Milwaukee. They used Drohan, who was a long relief man. All their better relievers are available as well, so I think the bullpens are good to go here. Both bullpens rested the day before. Or no, excuse me, Milwaukee's rested the day before that. The Yankees didn't. But either way, the bullpens set up pretty well in this game. The bullpens are also not bad. The Yankees are 9th now in bullpen. Their bullpen's been a lot better than last year. Milwaukee's hasn't been great, but 17th, I mean, that's not horrible. Their ERA's in the 3s. Nothing really bad about that, so I'm fine with this bullpen setup. Yes, the Yankees are a good offense. They're ranked 4th right now. The Brewers, 22nd. I still think the Brewers are going to start climbing offensively a bit. Now, the Brewers did win the game yesterday, I believe 6-0 behind Jacob Misiorowski, who had, 7 pitches in the first few innings of that game that were 103+ miles an hour. He's setting records for how many pitches, like how many of the fastest pitches ever recorded in a Major League Baseball game are his. It's getting ridiculous. His, Miz, whatever. The Brewers got the job done in that game yesterday. The game did go under as well, but I think this sets up to be another under here, man. You look at the starting pitching matchup here. Cam Schlittler is pitching for the Yankees. We have 2 young, talented pitchers on the mound here, man. And while Schlittler is becoming more of a known commodity, on the other side, Kyle Harrison is still not a known name, so I like this under here. Schlittler's been awesome. 1.52 ERA, 0.87 whip. He's actually been one of the best pitchers in baseball. He's got an even better ERA on the road, 1.17. He's allowed 1 or fewer earned runs in all but 2 outings, which are both in somewhat early April. He's got a 53-9 strikeout walk ratio on top of more ground ball outs than fly ball outs, and only 32 hits allowed in 47 1/3 innings, and only 1 home run allowed, which was the Red Sox, by the way, in a game that he won anyway. Milwaukee's also never seen him before, so we know how good he is, and he's facing a lineup that's never faced him before, so I talk about that's an extra advantage to the pitcher, having never been seen before by the opposing lineup. Meanwhile, on the other side, the guy the Red Sox got in the Devers trade, and I liked the Devers trade, and I think I was right about that, Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, who, by the way, has thrown 103 miles an hour multiple times in games as well, although he's somewhere off the radar, and I don't know where he is. But Kyle Harris is starting to pitch really well. Red Sox traded him for fucking Caleb Durbin. Probably not the best move, man, even though the Red Sox do have a lot of starting pitching depth. I'll give them that. So that's part of the reason they did it. And Durbin, at least, is a good fielder, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, I would like to have Kyle Harrison right now, man. And the Red Sox traded Tibbs for Dustin May, which is even worse. Sorry, I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm venting. Tibbs looks like he's going to be a great hitting outfielder, and he is on the Dodgers in their AAA affiliate right now, I believe. But yes, that was a horrible trade. Red Sox trading Tibbs for Dustin May. The Devers trade was good. Devers has been ass since they got rid of him. He's a chemistry killer. If the Red Sox had Tibbs and Harrison still, we'd be feeling pretty good about that. Anyway, Harrison has a 2.12 ERA, 1.11 WHIP. He's been really good this year. A little bit better at home, too. 1.76 home ERA. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start on the season. Hasn't exactly faced the most potent offenses, though. So, yeah, the Yankees are going to be a step up. I'll admit that. But he's got a 35-9 strikeout walk ratio, 24 hits allowed in 29 2/3 innings. These are all good numbers. He's only allowed 2 home runs. And the Yankees have seen him, but not much. They have 21 at-bats against him. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's held him to a 238 average, 701 OPS. But for the most part, the Yankees are pretty unfamiliar with Harrison. So I think that's an extra edge for him as well. Under is the call in this game, 7.5. Money seems like it's not agreeing with me. 77% of tickets on the under, 64% of the cash on the under. So I do worry about that a little bit. That market read is not really telling me the same thing. But I like it. The money is coming in on Milwaukee, though. But that tells me that the money is expecting Harrison to do well. Do you really think the money is fading the Yankees because they think Schlittler's not going to do well? There's no way that's the case. So I think the money is backing Milwaukee because they expect Harrison to pitch well. So that kind of supports my under. So the money's telling me different things here. 58% of tickets on the Yankees, 78% of the cash on Milwaukee. Yankees are about minus 140 or so here. I'm going under here. That's the way I'm going. 7.5 is the total there. It's, you expect the total to be that. That's a total that you get in a good pitching matchup, and I think that is what we have here. So with bullpens that can get the job done as well. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a break. I'll be right back. We'll talk about the rest of these games. I have one more play in the later games here. And you might be able to figure out what it is if you know how I do it. Chimaev is overvalued. I'm not sure about that. Those types of grapplers, they're almost always undervalued because the public always likes guys that punch hard and hit hard. They like hard-hitting baseball teams. They like hard-hitting strikers in fighting. So they always underrate the grapplers, the wrestlers. I'm not so sure about that. Mr. Pinsey, get out of here with your Yankees bullshit. I think it's going to be a close call. I think it's a tough call. Maybe they bounce back after getting shut out yesterday. But yeah, I think it's a close call. I'm going under in the game, as I showed you. I'll be right back. All right. Where did I leave off? We have Seattle and the White Sox. All right. This game, don't want to talk about what happened yesterday. It was an over. We got it wrong, but I think how high scoring it was pretty misleading. 20 runs scored on 20 hits. You usually don't see, or 22 hits, whatever. You usually don't see that. Just every base runner that reached scored in the game. Ridiculous. But I don't know if I'm not going to be recommending an under in this game. I don't know actually what I even would want to do with this game. This game is not going to be one of my plays, needless to say. The White Sox used 4 relief pitchers yesterday. Seattle used 3. Seattle has the better bullpen. There's no doubt about that. Seattle's 16th, but their ERA is quite good. One of the better bullpen ERAs. I think they're like a top 5 bullpen. The White Sox are pretty bad at 25th. Offensively, Seattle has started getting better. They're at 14th now. Like I said, I thought they would start turning it around. White Sox are actually tied with them in OPS. I think you could definitely argue Seattle actually has the better offense here, although it is close right now. Luis Castillo is pitching for Seattle. I don't know what's going on with Castillo because he's not that old, and we've seen what he's done throughout his career. He's been a fine pitcher. I don't know what he's doing this season. He has not been able to pitch well. 6.29 ERA, 1.66 whip. Usually he's worse on the road, which he still is, but his numbers are just all awful. 7.07 road ERA. He's usually better at home because it's Seattle, pitcher-friendly park, but he's usually not bad. I don't know what the deal is here, man. You look into his numbers, he's just been way too hittable. 44 hits in 34 and a third innings. It's not good. 31 strikeouts, 13 walks. 31 strikeouts, 13 walks. It's too many walks as well. But, that doesn't look that bad to me. It's just that the hitability has been really bad. I don't know what the deal is. His last start wasn't that bad. He gave up 4 earned runs against Kansas City in 6 innings, but had 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Maybe he is starting to turn around. He's had 3 all right starts in his last, or 2 in his last 3 starts. I don't know, man. Numbers against the White Sox are good, so if he's going to start turning it around, it might start here. He's got 30 career at-bats against them, 8-1 strikeout walk ratio, 100 average allowed, 262 OPS. Those are not bad numbers, obviously, at all. Anthony Kay is pitching for the White Sox. I don't think he's trustworthy. 5.7 ERA, 1.67 whip. I thought he was kind of more of an opener type of guy, but they've been basically letting him be a starter, sort of, but he still doesn't go deep into outings. He did pitch pretty well in his last outing, but it was against San Diego on the road. They haven't hit well this year, and that's a pitcher-friendly ballpark, so I don't think that's really much of an indicator of anything. He has a really bad strikeout walk ratio, 20-15 in 30 innings, plus 35 hits allowed. That's not good. If Castillo is what he normally is, he should be able to easily outpitch Kay in this game. But Seattle Mariners don't have much experience against Kay. They only have 4 hitters who have faced him. Only 1 hit, which is a double from Connor Joe, the guy with 2 first names. They have no strikeouts, 1 walk against him. 200 average, 733 OPS. I think I still I think I have to lean to Seattle here, man. You're getting a price there it seems not really that expensive to me at minus 130 or so. Money looks like it's backing the White Sox. I don't get it. 83% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. The odds makers are telling you Seattle is the better team here. Castillo, again, my concern is that Castillo has looked awful this year, so I don't know what the deal is because I don't know if he's hurt. We got to figure this out because he's usually pretty easy to predict. He's usually not that bad. So I don't know what the deal is. But in a normal circumstance, I would say he's certainly the better pitcher here. Plus, Seattle has the better bullpen. Yeah, my lean would be Seattle in that game. Castillo has good matchup numbers. Maybe he finally starts turning it around. Mets at Arizona. This game is going to be on Fox. There are 2 games on Fox competing with each other. And neither of them are that interesting, really. Arizona's lost 3 in a row. They've been playing bad. They lost 7 of their last 8 games, although granted, A number of those were to the Cubs. They lost yesterday 3-1, so the Mets were able to get the win. I think that was an extra inning game. Yes, that is correct. The other extra inning game was Colorado and Philly. I thought that the Dodgers was one, but I think the Dodgers won in like the 9th inning or something. All right. Anyway, this is actually kind of a weird game looking at the starting pitching matchup. Arizona used 4 relief pitchers yesterday, my mistake, but they only used Loaiziga for 4 pitches, so he's probably available again if they want to use him again. Mets used 4 relief pitchers as well. I don't like Arizona's bullpen, as you know, even though arranging it by whip, they're ranked 3rd. I don't buy it. Their ERA is still in the mid-4s. I don't like their bullpen. The Mets have a better ERA, at least it's sub-4, but they're ranked 11th in whip, but I still kind of lean towards the Mets being the better bullpen. Arizona is the better offense, but they have fallen off to 19th now. The Mets are dead last again, though. This Mets offense, yeah, they've been struggling. Clay Holmes, though, is pitching for the Mets, so that should help them out because he's had a good season. 1.69 ERA, 0.98 whip. He's been only slightly worse on the road, 1.85 road ERA. He's pitching in Arizona here, though, which is a pretty hitter-friendly ballpark. But, you know, I mean, he faced the Dodgers earlier this year, did pretty well in that outing, so he's looked pretty good. He's given up 2 or fewer earned runs in every outing. 31 to 14 strikeout walk ratio is not that great. It's a low strikeout rate, but 28 hits allowed in 42 2/3 innings. He's inducing a lot of ground ball outs, man. So that does mean that he might be even a little bit undervalued because he's not a strikeout guy, and he gets a lot of guys to just hit balls into the ground. But I tend to not like guys like that if they're putting too many guys on base, but he's not really, so Holmes is pretty good right now. Numbers against Arizona check out as well. 22 at-bats, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, 227 batting average allowed, 519 OPS. Not bad numbers here. Holmes certainly capable of pitching well here, which I think he may do. Merrill Kelly is pitching for Arizona. I do not know what's going on with him. In his return to Arizona, I mean, he's 37, so has he fallen off a cliff? I don't know, because I don't think Kelly is really a guy that was, like, you know, ever a hard thrower. So, like, you know, not a guy that you'd expect, like, he just fall off a cliff because his velocity is gone or something like that. But his numbers have been awful. He spent most of his career, I believe, with Arizona. He pitched pretty well with Texas last year. He's back with Arizona, and he's been awful. 9.95 ERA, 2.32 whip. He's unbackable right now, dude. He has a 16.62 home ERA. I know it's in very few starts, though, but he's given up 5 or more earned runs in his last 3 outings, and that's 3 out of the 4 of them. Yes, 2 of them are on the road against Milwaukee and the Cubs. Maybe he'll do better here, but he's walked 3 or more in every outing. He has more walks than strikeouts. 15 walks, 14 strikeouts in 19 innings. He's walking almost a guy an inning, plus he's allowed 29 hits on top of that and 6 home runs. This is just crazy stuff, dude. You just can't back this guy right now. You can't do it. But he might actually pitch well here because he's facing the worst lineup in baseball currently, at least based on the stats. And he does well against the Mets generally. 58 at-bats, 13 strikeouts, 5 walks. That's not great, but 190 batting average allowed, 582 OPS. He's held this lineup pretty much in check, man. So I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get here. Holmes is obviously the more trustworthy pitcher here right now. I probably would have to lean to the Mets. You know, the money's not agreeing with me. The money is backing Merrill Kelly. Like, I see no indication that he's going to turn it around, man. So I think it's a wait-and-see approach with Kelly, other than the fact that his career numbers are way better than this. So it's almost like he has to turn it around. And he's facing a lineup he typically does well against. So I'll give you that. 66% of tickets on the Mets. The Mets being public makes me laugh. 75% of the cash on Arizona. Mets are a small favorite here at minus 116. Again, I think the Mets have the better starting pitcher here and the better bullpen, though, so I kind of have to lean that way just because of that. But, yeah, that's those are my thoughts. The total's a 9. I mean, the money seems to be indicated towards the under. it all depends. Is Merrill Kelly actually going to have a decent start for once? If yes, then the under first 5 innings could make some sense there, but I would not want to have my money on that. St. Louis at San Diego. These teams have already played twice, and St. Louis won both games. I don't even know what to say. I don't. St. Louis, I don't think they're this good. Their starting pitching has overperformed, in my opinion. Their bullpen stinks, and their hitting has been good. I'll give you that. St. Louis has some young hitters that are doing well. But, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's enough to sustain what they're doing here. San Diego used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They did not use Mason Miller. They didn't really use any of their better relievers, so their better relievers are available here. St. Louis, not a good bullpen. They used 2 relief pitchers yesterday, but obviously San Diego's the better bullpen. They're currently ranked 5th. I think they're debatably the best bullpen. St. Louis, 23rd, not a good bullpen. Offensively, St. Louis has been good. They're 8th in hitting, and San Diego is 27th. So, yes, St. Louis is the better offense. Dustin May is pitching for St. Louis here. Overall numbers not good, 5.15 ERA, 1.53 whip. But, of course, because the Red Sox traded to get him, the Red Sox traded Tibbs away. May was terrible for the Red Sox. He's basically been terrible since his surgeries and whatever. But it only makes sense that now he's just pitching well for the Cardinals. And he actually is, even though his overall numbers don't look good. I'm going to show you his game log in a minute. He's been good for like the last month. He's been bad on the road, though, 6.14 road ERA. But because he spent all those years with L.A., and this is a pitcher-friendly park that he's used to, pitching in San Diego, pitcher-friendly park. He's pitched there before. I don't really think he's going to pitch that badly here. He's given up 3 or fewer earned runs in every outing going all the way back to his first 2 outings of the season. And his team has only lost 1 of those games, and it was to the Dodgers, where he still held them to 3 earned runs. May is actually pitching okay. 25-9 strikeout walk ratio. That's not that bad, but he's allowed 47 hits in 36 2/3 innings. So, yes, he's been too hittable. But his command numbers aren't that bad, but his strikeout rate is also down. His numbers against San Diego were kind of mediocre, though. In 76 at-bats, 15 strikeouts, 7 walks, 263 average allowed, 760 OPS. So that's the other side of it, is that this is a lineup that is familiar with them. And they've hit him okay. So, I'm not really jumping out of my seat to back May here. Randy Vasquez is pitching for the Padres here. 3.2 ERA, 1.17 whip. Those are good numbers. Surprisingly, he's been worse at home. 4.35 home ERA, even though it's a pitcher-friendly stadium. I don't know what the deal is there. He got knocked around by the Cubs and the Mariners in the home starts that are skewing all those numbers. Overall numbers are not horrible. Still too many walks. Like, he's always walked too many guys, but at least it's not as bad as it used to be. 36 strikeouts, 13 walks in 39 1/3 innings, only 33 hits allowed. Overall, I think he's a pretty decent pitcher. Numbers against St. Louis, though, are not good. In 33 at-bats, 303 average allowed, 797 OPS, 5.2 strikeout walk ratio, and coupled with the fact that he doesn't pitch well in this stadium this season so far, you would think that San Diego should bounce back after losing 2 games in a row, but I think I might go St. Louis first 5 innings here because I don't want the bullpen. St. Louis does not have a bullpen edge. San Diego clearly has the bullpen edge. If you are going to go San Diego, full game is the way you want to do it. They're at minus 143 or so. Money is hitting St. Louis, though. 64% of tickets on San Diego, 62% of the cash on St. Louis. I mean, I could definitely see May being able to outpitch Vasquez here, unfortunately. So first 5, St. Louis as an underdog makes some sense there. And maybe they're going to get another overperformance out of one of their starters. Next game up will be my last play in the baseball slate. This is Pittsburgh at San Francisco. And because it's at San Francisco, you probably know what I'm doing here. Under is the play here. Under 7.5 at minus 109. I found it a slightly reduced juice here. I like this one for a number of reasons. San Francisco's a pitcher-friendly ballpark. San Francisco is a very bad offense right now. Their bullpen is quite good, so that all lines up as being a pitching type of game. San Francisco used 3 relief pitchers yesterday, but I think we could still roll with their bullpen here. Pittsburgh used 3 as well. I don't even know what happened in the game last night. I didn't really look. San Francisco won 5-2. So, yeah, they might have actually used some of their better relievers. That worries me a little bit, but I'm still going to do this one. Yeah, it looks like, I don't know, it became a non-save situation, it looks like, though. I think, yeah, they gave up a run. Killian was in and gave up a run late. They were winning by 4, it looks like, late. So I don't think they did use like some of their better relievers there, or some of their best, I think, remained out of the game. Bullpen-wise, yes, I like the bullpens here. The Giants, they're ranked 14th, but their ERA is one of the best. I think they're one of the better bullpens for sure. Pirates are 15th, and yeah, their ERA is in the 4s, but they're not a bullpen that's that bad, so I think we're okay leaving the bullpens in here. Offensively, I mean, Pittsburgh's been decent, 11th. San Francisco has not, 29th. But again, I think the pitching can kind of counter the hitting, and I don't think either of these teams are teams that really rip the cover off the ball. Pittsburgh also on the road in a more pitcher-friendly environment here. Braxton Ashcraft is pitching for Pittsburgh. He's been good, dude. And I think what we have here is 2 very unheralded starting pitchers. And you know that's where I like to look mostly for unders, even though I know we're going with Schlittler in one of the unders here. But this one, you know, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll go with these pitchers that people do know. But this one, both these pitchers are good, and people have no idea who they are. Ashcraft for Pittsburgh, 3.02 ERA, 1.08 whip. He's been good. He's been better on the road, actually, 2.5 road ERA. And his only really bad start was where he was coming off bereavement leave, and he gave up 6 earned runs to a St. Louis team that is hitting pretty well. San Francisco is not hitting well. And also, he did face the Cubs earlier this year on the road and actually pitched well in that game. Overall, 45 strikeouts, 14 walks, 31 hits allowed in 41 2/3 innings. There's not a ton that you can really pick at there. Those are pretty good numbers. The walk number's a little bit too high, but he's been pitching well, man. And again, he did have 3 walks in that one bad start that I'm chalking up to being the fact that he came back from bereavement leave and just kind of had a bad outing there against St. Louis. He bounced back nicely after that with an outing against Cincinnati, shutting them out for 7 2/3, and was extremely efficient with his pitches as well. 82 pitches, and he almost went 8 innings in that one. So he was basically, he almost averaged 10 pitches an inning in that outing. His numbers against San Francisco are also good in a small 16 at-bat sample size. They have 1 extra base hit, a double from Jung-Ho Lee, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 250 average allowed, 562 OPS allowed. Ashcraft does have good statistics there in the matchup. Landon Roupe, one of my favorite guys to play on, man, because that sounds gay almost. Yeah, I'm gay for him. You know, because I think he just goes under the radar because he doesn't throw that hard, but he has nasty breaking stuff, and he's been good. 3.18 ERA, 1.06 whip. We've won a couple of games where we've gone unders with him this year, I'm pretty sure. Let's do it again, although, yes, his home road splits don't look good. 4.67 home ERA. I know, that's not great. San Francisco, by the way, has actually won 5 of his 7 starts, so obviously he's doing something right. You know, why are his home numbers that bad? I don't know. I mean, they're all just getting skewed by one bad start against the Mets. But if you look at, I mean, it's bad because it's the Mets. I know the Mets can't hit well, but that was only his 2nd start of the season. He had 7 strikeouts and 1 walk in that outing, so it's not like that outing was bad. So I don't know. It was just a weird outing. I think it's kind of fluky. He did just have kind of a bad outing against Tampa Bay, but still had 6 strikeouts and 2 walks in that one. That was on the road. 4 1/3 innings pitched there. I think Roupe is going to bounce back. I mean, if you take that start out and the Mets start out, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every outing. And if you take the Miami one out, he's allowed 1 or fewer in all the rest. He's got a 43-16 strikeout walk ratio, kind of similar to what we just saw with Ashcraft, and a very low 26 hits allowed in 39 2/3 innings. So he is not easy to hit, even though his walk number is a little bit high. He's only allowed 1 home run. It was at home against the Marlins, but whatever. Overall, good stuff, and Pittsburgh does not have a lot of history against him. They only have 7 at-bats against him. 3 of their hitters have faced him before. They only have 2 hits, both singles from O'Hearn and Ozuna. 2 strikeouts, 1 walk, 286 average allowed, 619 OPS. So I think Roupe has some unfamiliarity advantages here against these opposing bats, and they haven't really hit him for power or anything like that, the ones that have faced him. So under is my call in that game. That is a play. We don't see percentages on this yet. The total's 7.5 across the board. Money is coming in on San Francisco, which I like that because that means the money is backing Landon Roupe to actually pitch okay here. 57% of tickets, 93% of the cash on him, or on San Francisco, I mean. So don't want to overweigh the starting pitchers, but they do factor pretty heavily into baseball games. So that's my other play. We have 2 full game unders today. All right. Now, the last game is kind of an interesting one. Atlanta and the Dodgers. Like I said, the Dodgers won, even though Emmett Sheehan came out of the game fairly early last night. Chris Sale outpitched him, but Sale went multiple innings further, gave up another run, and that was it. And the Dodgers wound up winning the game barely. This is a huge weekend series, dude, between possibly the best 2 teams in baseball, perhaps. Both bullpens have been good this year. Atlanta only used 1 guy out of their bullpen yesterday, bummer, for only 9 pitches. So Sale allowed them to save their bullpen. The Dodgers, you cannot say that about them because Sheehan exited early. The Dodgers used 5 guys out of the bullpen. That's not good. So Atlanta has a bullpen edge here because they're more rested. These teams are number 1 and number 2 in bullpen right now, by the way, in whip. They're actually tied with Atlanta's ERA being better. Atlanta number 1, Dodgers number 2. Hitting, they're also number 1 and number 2 right now. Dodgers number 1, Braves number 2. So we have 2 of the best bullpens right now, 2 of the best offenses right now. Dodgers, obviously, legitimately the best offense. And the starting pitching is interesting. Spencer Strider made his return in his previous outing, and he did not do well for the Braves here. He went 3 1/3, but it was at Coors Field. Maybe you got to give him a little bit of a pass for that, and it was his first game back. So maybe, he was shaky, whatever, trying to get back in rhythm. He wasn't good, though. He walked 5 guys, did have 6 strikeouts, so that's a good sign that he was striking a lot of guys out. 4 hits allowed, though, in 3 1/3 innings. So overall, it wasn't a good start. The question is he going to bounce back, and is he going to pitch better? Is he going to be what he once was? Very difficult question to answer, man. He was awesome back in 2022, 2023, like almost right out of the gate. He started off his career awesome. 2024, he got injured. Then he came back in 2025, which was last year, and he wasn't as good. It looks like his strikeout rate was still high, but he walked a ton of guys last year. He was out of control last year, man. Usually that's something you could fix. Like the fact that his strikeout rate was still high, although it wasn't as high. His strikeout rate was way higher before. So it does mean something looks like it was a little bit gone from his velocity. But he was still striking out more than 1 guy in innings, so the walks were more of a problem. Like, I don't know what's going on with that, but that is something you could fix, the control issues. But I don't know if he's fixed it yet, man. I mean, based on that last start against the Rockies, it looks like it's not fixed. Now, he's going up against a Dodgers lineup that will make you pay if you do that, but he does have good career numbers against them. 41 at-bats, 11 strikeouts, 1 walk, 220 average allowed, 506 OPS. Now, the question is, were those numbers back when he was like an ace pitcher, or were they like last year, even during his rough season last year? Well, the answer to that is they were not last year. He did not face the Dodgers at all last year. So all of his numbers against the Dodgers are from when he was a better pitcher. So I don't think you can put that much into these numbers because, he just looks not as good since he came back from injury last year. So I need to see more out of Strider before I can really trust him in a matchup like this. And speaking of guys coming back from injury, Blake Snell is making his return for the Dodgers here. He was good last year. He walked too many guys last year, but he was he was striking out so many guys and so unhittable that it didn't even matter. He had a 2.35 ERA, 1.26 whip. He's been good throughout his career, and I mean, it's always been the case that he's walked too many guys, and he just kind of bears through it, whatever. He's a pretty dominant pitcher outside of the walks. And against the Braves, he does have good numbers in 69 at bats, 24-9 strikeout walk ratio, 188 batting average allowed, 644 OPS allowed. I didn't look at what Strider did in the minors this year. I could look right now. Or Snell. Let me see what he did in the minors this year in his rehab. I am looking right now. He had a 3.38 ERA. He only pitched 8 innings in the minors, had a 1 whip. He made 3 starts, but only a total of 8 innings, 10 strikeouts. I don't see the walk number here. It must be somewhere. He actually pitched in single A a little bit as well. So actually, those are his overall numbers. At triple A, it was a little bit worse. He had a 4.5 ERA this season in triple A in 2 starts. So that's not that great. But a .75 whip, so he wasn't putting guys on base, so whatever. It was only 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. I mean, whatever. We know who Snell is, dude, unless we think he's completely off. I don't think it really matters. I think he's going to pitch fine. The money's coming in on Atlanta, 53% of tickets, 86% of the cash on them. Possibly because the Dodgers are just favored way too heavily here at -170. I might agree that line is too heavy on the Dodgers here, but there's also a reason why the Dodgers are favored by this much. The odds makers are kind of telling you Snell is better than Strider by that much, so I don't know, man. But I don't like the Dodgers bullpen setup here. Atlanta does have the better bullpen setup here, so if Strider is able to pitch well here enough to battle Snell, then I think the edge does go to Atlanta late in this game because they have the more rested bullpen. So do what you want with all that information, man, but I don't have a good read on the game. The money's coming in somewhat on the over as well. Total at 8.5. Really, I think Snell will do well, so really it comes down to how well is Strider going to pitch, and that is a huge mystery. So I think if you want to go Atlanta first 5 inning under their team total, I think that makes sense, and just go with Snell to pitch well. But I don't have a great way to attack that game, really. Okay. Now let's go to WNBA. I'm going to give you a play in the WNBA this time. We have 4 games here. My WNBA reads were not great last night, so I apologize, I guess. But I didn't have a strong opinion on any of those. Dallas and Indiana is going to be an interesting game, man, as we have 3 number 1 draft picks. The last 3 number 1 draft picks are all playing in this game. 2 of them for Dallas, and they're also dating each other. And then 1 for Indiana, which is Caitlin Clark, obviously. This is on ABC and Disney Plus, because Disney Plus wants to promote gayness. So why not have a team that has a lesbian relationship on it, which is Dallas. They're the 2 wings of the Dallas Wings. I like Indiana in this game, though, man. I mean, Indiana might be a little bit under the radar because they didn't play as well at the end of last year. But you remember, Caitlin Clark was hurt. Sophie Cunningham was hurt. Those are their 2 best players. They're both back. So Indiana should be a pretty good team this year, man. They should be one of the top teams in the league, I would imagine, as long as those 2 women stay healthy. They're healthy right now. Indiana is favored by 5.5 here. Dallas should eventually be improved as well, but they have to kind of coalesce. So they have Paige Beckers, who was their draft pick last year. Caitlin Clark, I think, was the number 1 pick the year before that. Beckers was number 1 last year. Dallas did start playing a bit better towards the end of the season. Dallas had the number 1 pick again this year, though, because they still were the last place team. And they picked Beckers' lesbian lover out of UConn. They both went to UConn. Azzy Fudd, no relation to Elmer Fudd, hunting rabbits. I think it's a bad idea, dude. Why would you want 2 chicks who are dating each other to be on your team? To me, it seems they might have some chemistry because they played together in college, but they're a year removed from that because, of course, Fudd was playing in college last year while Beckers was in the WNBA, so they might have to regain that chemistry. But also, I saw some pictures of Beckers possibly cheating. This is the WNBA, man. We're talking lesbian drama here, lesbian love triangles, pink triangle on her sleeve. Beckers looks like she was cheating maybe with another chick. So I don't know what the deal is, man. And if their relationship falls apart, I think that's going to be a real negative for this team. But either way you look at it, I think they have to regain some chemistry. The other players on the team have to gain that chemistry with the new pieces here. So I don't think they're going to just be great right away. You know what I mean? So I like Indiana here, but Indiana does have to kind of regain their chemistry as well because Clark and Cunningham were both out at the end of last year, but they played well without them. They made the semifinals in the playoffs without them. But that also tells you Indiana's a pretty strong team. I would lay it with Indiana in this one. This is not my play, though. And we see some percentages here. 84% of tickets, 89% of the cash on Dallas. And Indiana dropped from 7.5 to 5.5 here. I don't know what's going on with that. I tried to see if there were injuries going on there, but I don't think there are. So I think actual money moved that line, but I don't know. Whatever. Yes, it's interracial. The PMS, you have to fade the teams. No, that's easy because their cycles sync up. So you just fade the team where they're all on their period together. That's what you have to do. You have to chart their menstrual cycles. And then I don't do that, though. I just do what I usually do. I do the normal handicapping. Next game is my play. So we have an afternoon play here, WNBA, to kick off my bets for the season. Phoenix and Las Vegas. And if you follow the WNBA, you might know where I'm going with this. This is also on ABC and Disney+. Now, if you remember, I had Vegas correct in my bracket. They won the championship last year as the 2 seed out of the 8 teams. They won. The 1 seed was Minnesota, I think, and they fell apart. They had some injuries. They fell off and whatever. Vegas won. I got that correct. But now we're going to go in the opposite direction here. We're going to take Phoenix +9 against Vegas here. And why is that? Well, because guess who Vegas played in the championship last year? Oh, yeah, they played Phoenix in the finals last year. So this is finals revenge for Phoenix here, man. And Vegas swept them out of the playoffs. Vegas won those games by 3 and 13 at home, and then they won by 2 and 11 on the road. So they covered this number in 2 out of the 4, and split as far as this number was concerned at home as well. Now, I don't know which pieces are still the same. I think Vegas might have lost one of their better players coming into this year. I'm not sure, but this is still a huge revenge spot, man. I think people are only going to want to take Vegas. Vegas won the championship. They beat Phoenix in the finals to do it, swept them. So I think Vegas might take Phoenix a little bit lightly. This is probably the ring ceremony. You know, Vegas is going to be getting their rings. That's probably going to piss off Phoenix. And it's probably going to make Vegas overconfident. This is the only type of revenge that really matters, is who eliminated you, who ended your season. So I think Phoenix is definitely going to get up for this game. I don't even know which personnel are the same here, but I like it. We're getting a lot of points here. Let's do it. We don't see the percentages on this yet. The number's gone all the way up to 9 from 7, but whatever. We're going to fade Vegas here. Take Phoenix plus the points. And normally I want to fade the runner-up because the runner-up gets so close and then they lose. But that's not what I'm doing in this case, man, because the runner-up is in a major, major revenge spot here. So let's do it. Phoenix, Mercury, plus the points. The next game is Atlanta and Minnesota. Minnesota, I'm going to lean Minnesota here for a couple of reasons. Now, Minnesota did lose some of their players. That's why they're a 4.5-point underdog here. But I don't know if that's really deserved. Minnesota, they fell apart during the playoffs. That's because some of their best players got hurt. And they still have Collier, who was on her way to be the MVP last year until she got hurt. So they do still have her. So this is, I think, still not a bad team, Minnesota, and you're giving them 4.5 points at home. They're playing Atlanta, and yes, Atlanta was a good team last year. I believe Atlanta still has Brittany Griner. But the other thing is, no, they don't, actually. Never mind. I guess they don't. So here's the thing, though, about Atlanta. They added Angel Reese, and I think that's a negative, dude. I know she's one of the most well-known WNBA players. She's a good rebounder, but she can't score at all. She can't shoot. She can't score in a locker room full of lesbians, man. She's that ugly. All right. But no, I don't think this is a good move, honestly. Angel Reese, I know she was not doing well for Chicago. She seems to be kind of a chemistry killer. I think she's a very overrated player. So I don't like that move for Atlanta. And I think Atlanta, where is Brittany Griner now? Atlanta doesn't have her anymore. I mean. Sorry. Maybe Griner's back in Russia. I don't know. Griner is on Connecticut now. So Griner played last night and is on one of the worst teams in the league. That's great. I didn't even realize Connecticut had Griner, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to lean Minnesota in this one. The money's not agreeing. Atlanta 66% of tickets, 74% of the cash on Atlanta. I just don't understand why Atlanta would be favored by this much, even though I know I said that about, Golden State yesterday, them being favored looked weird. But I knew why, because Golden State put a lot of money into that team, and I told you Golden State was actually good, and they actually did win and cover yesterday. Atlanta, I just think that this is a move because they picked up Angel Reese and whatever, and I just don't buy it. Minnesota's still not that bad of a team. I would probably take the points. And then we have Chicago at the Portland Fire. Is that what they are? I feel like every team is named the Fire. I feel like, what is it? I don't know. There's some other team called the Fire, I think in MLS maybe. I don't know. I don't follow soccer. Whatever. It's a dumb name. Also, it's hilarious when the West Coast has all these wildfires. Portland Fire sounds like a historical event. Yo, you remember that fire that burned down half the city? Dude, Chicago playing against them too? Chicago Fire? Oh, man. This is on NBA TV, even though it's a WNBA game. Give me a break, man. And Chicago, they were pretty bad last year, and people are going to be like, why is Chicago laying 5.5 here? But I actually probably would lay it with Chicago. I think Chicago's going to be better without Angel Reese. I'm sorry, but I'm not a Reese fan, obviously. I think she's the most overrated player in women's basketball. She's not good. Chicago picked up Cardoso. I think that's a good move. They got her, Diggins. Vandersloot was injured last year, and she's one of their best players. So I think she's back, although she's not playing tonight. But she is going to play this season. But yeah, she's not playing in tonight's game. But that's going to be that's going to help Chicago when she comes back as well. I don't think Chicago's that bad. And I think, again, getting rid of Angel Reese, I think, is actually a positive. Portland is just like I said with Toronto, and Toronto did lose, although it was a close game last night. Portland is the other expansion team, so they went through the expansion draft where they pick up the scrubs that teams don't protect in the draft. Sometimes that means the team's going to be underrated. Sometimes that means that team's going to be underrated because it's like, well, this team is a bunch of scrubs, but I don't want to play on them. But then on the other hand, like I said with Toronto, even though I did lean to Toronto yesterday because Washington sucks, but the chemistry might not be there yet, right? Because you pick all these players from different teams. They're not used to playing with each other, so the team has to get their chemistry going. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen right away, so I would lay it with Chicago in that one. All right. Let's go to hockey. All right. Reese is a joke. Yeah, because it's the race rivalry. Clark keeps getting attacked by non-white players on the court there. Don't get my channel nuked or whatever. Clark is way better than Reese. Especially Clark is just way, way better on the offensive side of things. Carolina at Philadelphia. This is not going to be where I have my play. These games are on TNT, True TV, HBO Max, just like all the other NHL playoffs. Carolina's up 3-0. Now, it's happened before in hockey. I think 4 teams have come back from 3-0. It's not going to happen in this series. Carolina, they're just the better team, man. They play a similar style to Philadelphia, but they're better and more experienced at it. Now, does that mean Carolina's going to win this game? Definitely. No, I don't really think so. And Carolina's laying almost minus 200 here. And I believe in the previous game they were laying about minus 160. So obviously the price is high on Carolina here. And I think it's too high. Again, usually a lot of times you do see the team down 3-0. This is hockey, dude. Teams do not give up. Like in the NBA, a team down 3-0 is going to give up because no team's ever come back. NBA is not as manly as hockey is. These hockey players, dude, they'll play with broken arms and shit. They don't care. They're going to go out there and give you an effort. until, like, you have to basically kill a hockey team, to get them to not put in effort. You know what I'm saying? So I think Philadelphia is going to give effort here. I think it's going to get physical. Can Carolina win this game? Yeah, obviously. They've been the better team. They're favored pretty heavily here. They've been a pretty decent road team as well. They're going to win the series, but I do think Philadelphia is going to give a fight here. And I think Carolina's favored by too much. Because, again, they were favored, what was it, minus 160 something in the game three. Let me see. Yeah, minus 166. Now they're like minus 200. Yeah, I mean, that's just too much of a line adjustment. You look at the game, Carolina did win a lot of the stats in the game. They had more shots in the game, despite being ahead for most of the game. Philadelphia did out-hit them, though, and did win the face-off battle a little bit. But, yeah, I just think the line is just too high. I think there's probably some value looking at Philadelphia here. It's not going to be a play, but 84% of tickets and only 74% of the cash on Carolina. Totals at 5.5, 6-ish. Or no, 5.5 juice to the under heavily. It's almost 5. It's a low total, man. So that, again, helps Philadelphia. Like, you could take Philadelphia on the puck line here, plus 1.5, and get them to just come within 1 goal. They could definitely do that. That's how I would play that game, probably. And they did do that in one of the road games in the series. They were able to cover. They sent one of the games to overtime. So I don't think Philadelphia is going down without a fight, man. That's what I'll say. Even though, yeah, they might lose by 1. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. But if it's a 1-goal game late, you have to worry about the empty net. You'd basically need them to, like, have it tied late in the game. We'll see. The other game will be my play, though. We're going to zigzag this, and it looks way, way, way too easy to play Colorado here. We're going to take Minnesota as an underdog, plus 112. I know I talked about how looking at the regular season series, it was a split series, but Colorado clearly outplayed Minnesota during the regular season. Colorado is the better team. They're going to win the series, but this is a 2-0 series going back to Minnesota, man. I think this is a zigzag spot. Nobody's going to want Minnesota because Colorado's been the best team in the league. Minnesota lost 9-6 and 5-2 in the first 2 games. Who's going to want to play Minnesota here? Nobody. But Minnesota's going to have the adjustments to make. And this is an interesting scheduling spot, too, which is pretty rare because usually they're going to have 2 days off when they're switching venues, right? So they play it on Tuesday. Usually that means they're going to play the next game on Friday. And I think because the T-Wolves were playing at home, and I think they play in the same arena, I'm guessing, the T-Wolves played on Friday, so the Wild could not have their game the same night, so they had to move that game to Saturday. I think that's going to help the Wild, dude. They're going to have extra time off. You know I talk about this. When a team, things are not going well for a team, and they have an extra break, they have extra rest, that usually helps that team break that losing momentum and fix things. It's like having a bye. Whereas for Colorado, everything went well for them in the first 2 games. So that could serve as a momentum stopper now that they have 2 days off. 3 days off, it's as opposed to the normal 2 days off. Yeah, I think it's bad. I think it's a momentum stopper for both teams, which is going to help Minnesota here. Minnesota was pretty decent at home, although, yeah, Colorado was good on the road, too. I'm not going to put too much weight into that. I do worry a little bit about Minnesota's goaltending because it looked like Wallstedt was the guy. He played well against Dallas, and then they took him out of the game against Colorado in that first game where he gave up that barrage of goals, and I don't think they should have taken him out. I think they should have let him play, but Minnesota switched to Gustafsson in game 2, so that does worry me a little bit because you don't want to not know who your goalie is, and I honestly don't even know who Minnesota's going to have as their goalie today, but I just think the situation puts us on Minnesota here, man. And down 2-0 at home, that's a good zigzag spot in both the NBA and the NHL. Usually that home team puts in a huge effort. And that's especially if, if game 2 was like some sort of outlier that, just was kind of misleading. And I think we could say that it kind of was. Minnesota had more hits than Colorado, though they lost the face-off battle really bad. But Minnesota had more shots and more hits in the game. And yes, more shots was a product of them being down in the game, but Minnesota played better than the score makes it look. Colorado had an empty net goal at the end. The game was closer than that. Colorado also scored 2 power play goals in the game, whereas Minnesota didn't score any. So 2 power play goals plus an empty net goal, that was the difference in the game. So when the teams were even, 5-on-5, the game was 2-2. When the teams were 5-on-5. So that game was definitely closer than it looked on the scoreboard. Colorado's getting the money, but they do look very public to me. It looks way too easy, dude. After we've seen Colorado just look absolutely dominant throughout the whole season, dominant in this series so far, it looks like a really cheap price to play Colorado. It looks like the books are begging you to play Colorado here at around -130. It looks so easy to play them. That is not what we're going to do. They have 86% of tickets, 91% of the cash. Nope. We're going to take Minnesota on the money line at around +112, +110, whatever. Total in that game is high, again, at about 6.5, by the way. I think I would lean under, to be honest, because both games have gone over that number so far. Obviously, if you like the underdog, you're kind of expecting them to slow the game down a bit, whatever, like keep the game closer, keep it in check. So I think Minnesota's kind of correlated to an under in that game. Even though Colorado does play well defensively too, these are good defensive teams, man. So the offensive onslaught has been kind of ridiculous. And of course, I gave out the under in game 2, and the only reason it went over was that empty net goal. So fuck that. So that was a little bit misleading. Yeah, I think especially after the long layoff, having an extra day layoff, I think that means the offenses might come out a little bit slow. So under first period kind of makes sense in that game as well. Okay, NBA, we're going to have one play as well, and it is in the first game up in the afternoon in the Eastern Conference Finals. Oh, we have a team down 2-0 returning home. What am I doing here? In Detroit and Cleveland on NBC and Peacock. Yeah, you know what we're going to do. We're going to do it, man. Nobody's going to want to do this after Detroit's won both games so far as 3-point favorites. And I told you Cleveland was going to be favored by more at home because the odds makers are telling you Cleveland is actually the better team over Detroit, which is also why Detroit was only a very small favorite to win the series, only because they have the home advantage. Cleveland is favored by more, and I think this line is exactly what I thought it would be. We're going to lay it with Cleveland, -4.5. And now I know we could have gotten a better number, which would have been awesome. The line looked like it opened at 3, which was low. Again, with Detroit being a 3-point home favorite, Cleveland -4, -4.5 is exactly what I expected the number to be. So I think we're still good laying this number. It's like 4.5 everywhere. But I think you're going to get a huge effort out of Cleveland here, man. They lose the first 2 games on the road, and Cleveland has been just an extreme home team in the playoffs, man. Even back when they were like playing those series against the Magic the last couple of years in the playoffs and whatever, the games were so lopsided towards the home team, and that's been the case again. In Cleveland's playoff games so far, the home team has literally won every game and covered every game as well, except for one game where Cleveland didn't cover. They won by 5 and didn't cover as a 9-point favorite, and we did take a loss on that one against Toronto in Game 5. But that's the only game where the home team didn't both win and cover, and the home team has won every game in Cleveland's playoff run so far. So I like Cleveland for that reason. Nobody's going to want Cleveland because the odds makers are... But the odds makers are telling you Cleveland's a better team, but nobody's going to want them because Detroit again, Detroit's 2-0 in the series. They're the 1 seed. Nobody's going to lay points with Cleveland here. You know what I mean? It's one of those lines where the line is telling you something completely different than what the normal person would think. Like, how could the higher seeded team, the better seeded team be an underdog as big as this when they're already winning every game in the series, right? So that makes me like Cleveland. 73% of tickets, 77% of the cash on Cleveland. So I think the money's agreeing with us here. I mean, I agree just because the spot makes sense. And yes, there are some outliers that we can look at from the previous game. Look at the 3-point shooting in game 2. Detroit hit 50% of their threes. Cleveland hit 22% of theirs. Detroit was plus 21 from three-point range. They hit 7 more three-pointers, and they won the game by 10. So that is an outlier. Detroit is not going to shoot 50% from three again, most likely. Cleveland is known for hitting, not necessarily hitting threes, but they're a decent shooting team. They're an offensive team. They're not going to shoot 22% from the field again, and 42%, or 22% from three, excuse me. But 42% from the field probably is going to turn around as well. So I think the biggest regression points here are the shooting. I think Detroit is in line to regress, especially from three-point range. And we saw what Detroit looked like in the Magic series. Detroit's not a good scoring team, dude. Like, if you're able to take Cunningham out of the game a little bit, Detroit doesn't have that many other scoring options. So Cleveland has a way more diverse offensive team. So I think Cleveland is going to shoot better. Yeah, Detroit won the rebounds by a little bit. I still expect Cleveland's bigs to somehow start winning out in the series, though. Like, Detroit's not that good on the interior, man, so I don't know. Even though, yes, Detroit is the better defensive team and getting points here, I get it. That is the one thing where normally, yes, I like the better defensive team getting points, but Cleveland's on the ropes here, man. If they go down 3-0, series is over. They got the urgency. They've been way better at home during the playoffs. I think they're going to win, and if they win, I'm pretty sure they're going to cover as well. It's a slim margin there. Where it would be, it's such a slim margin where they would win and not cover. I think they're going to win and cover. Cleveland, decent at home, 27-14 on the season. Detroit is way better at home than on the road, by the way. They were still pretty good on the road, 28-13, but they had single-digit losses at home, dude. So Detroit throughout the season was a better home team than road team, and now they got to go on the road. Totals at 211.5, which, the over kind of makes some sense here, even though the last game actually only landed at, what is that? 2-0, is that 204? Am I doing the math right there? The over, I think, makes a little bit of sense here, too. I think a high-scoring game helps Cleveland more. Detroit wants to muck the game up and slow it down, but I think the home team is more likely to control the pace. Cleveland wants to speed it up and score more. So I think that kind of makes sense as well. I think Cleveland and the over are probably correlated in this game. So I would probably slightly lean over as well here, but I like the side better. Money is indicating on the over with 78% of tickets and 52% of the cash on the under. Totals mostly 212.5 out there. So it has gone up a little bit already from 211 or 211.5. Yeah, you lost 1 point of value there, but I think there might still be some value in that over. But we're going to lay the points instead, even though I know we lost a little bit of value on that as well. And then the second game is a 2-0 series going back to L.A. Oklahoma City at L.A. OKC is up 2-0. Unless the Lakers somehow get back into the series, I don't think Luka's coming back, dude. He's not coming back in this game. Oklahoma City's an 8.5-point favorite here. However, it is one of those games where a team's down 2-0, coming back home, and I think if LA is going to steal a game or anything like that in this game, I think it might be this type of spot down 2-0, because if they fall down 3-0, probably they're just going to, just not bother bringing Luka back. You know what I mean? 3-0, you're dead in the NBA. So if that happens, I don't really think LA is going to put up a huge fight if they get into that scenario. So I think this is going to be the game where they go all out. This game's on ABC, by the way. Oklahoma City covered each of the other games, winning by exactly 18. But if you look at the previous game, LA was actually winning the game 2 at halftime. They actually played all right in the game, and Oklahoma City shot pretty well, 56% from the field. There weren't really any huge outliers here, but it is interesting that LA only lost the rebound battle by 2. So the Lakers did actually play better in that game 2 than it looks like on the scoreboard. So yes, I think if LA is going to play their best game in the series, it is going to be this one. I think if they win any game in the series, it will be this one. Even if they win, I kind of think Oklahoma City is going to wind up winning the game in 5, or winning the series, in 5. But whatever. I would lean towards taking the points with the Lakers in this one, but the money seems to disagree. 60% of tickets, 70% of the cash on OKC. 8.5 seems about right based on the fact that OKC was 15.5. Still, I mean, the odds makers are basically moving every line when it goes to the other home team. We just lost the board here. They seem to move every line by 7. Yeah, everything's off the board now. Moving all these lines by 7 is kind of weird to me, but, because I don't think 3.5 is an appropriate home court advantage in the NBA. Even in the playoffs, I think it's closer to 2.5, but I'm not an odds maker, so do whatever with that information. But, sorry, I didn't take the Cleveland play off the board there, or off the banners. Anyway, I lean slightly to the Lakers, but I don't want to play the game. This has been a stay-away series for me. It's a lopsided series, dude. OKC is just a way better team, so what can you do? The Lakers were, I think, a bit better at home than on the road, though, so there is that. But the Lakers were pretty bad as an underdog throughout the course of the season. Up until, the late part of the season, they did play a little bit better. But Luka is still out, like I said. OKC, I think, is still without Jalen Williams. He's a game-time decision, actually. There's such a deep team, it doesn't matter that much if he's out or not. But he might actually play in this game, so we will see. I don't really have much else to say about this game. The total, can't read the market on it now with the site being down, both sites being down. 211.5 is the total there. That it seems almost low to me, but I don't know, because the last game went way over that. The last game landed, whatever that is, 232. I guess maybe an under makes a little bit more sense in this game. I mean, LA tends to play over types of games, though, because they're not that good on defense. I don't really think LA loves playing under games, but whatever. I don't have a good feel for that total. Anyway, that's going to do it, man. My plays today, one more time, we have a lot of plays. Major League Baseball, we have a split run line, money line bet on the Cincinnati Reds. We have under full game, Yankees, Milwaukee, under the 7.5. Get that hook, man. 7.5 is a key number. I think it's still available. Same thing goes for under in Pittsburgh and San Francisco, also 7.5. That's my other baseball play. We're getting involved in the NBA with Phoenix plus the points. NHL, Minnesota, money line. And NBA, we're going to lay the points with the Cavs. I think they're the team I've laid the points with the most, and I think I'm 1-2 in those games so far, so I apologize, but let's even it out tonight, man. Let's do it. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. You can subscribe to me on Twitter, and that helps me out. Tell everybody about this show. Please get it out there. We're just totally stagnant. We're getting no subs. We've lost a couple of subs recently. We only have the regulars, man. I want new faces in here. Even if they bash me and they don't like what I have to say. My results speak for themselves. There you go. Last 35 days, 61, 33, and 5. You try to do that. It's not easy to beat the books, man. I've bet some of those plays personally, but not enough of them. But when I was actually betting full throttle and I was backing it with my actual job, money I was getting from my job, I was betting literally every one of these plays, and I'm handicapping them the exact same way. So I endorse every play I give out here. But yes, like, subscribe, listen on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. That all helps me out. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel on YouTube. You can check that out. Patreon.com/LearnToToad. Support me there. Losercast every Tuesday night. Comedy show. One of the best that exists right now. Is it? I don't know. And the G-Spot Giants podcast. Ben has been talking to me about doing a show to recap the draft at some point this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. And then I am going to do an NFL win totals. I got 3 win totals that I like. And again, just like last year, I have 2 unders and 1 over. And it's very similar to what I did last year. So I'm going to do that season win total show. Probably even regardless of if ESPN brings out that game again or not. But I'm waiting to see if they bring out that game. But I will do that. And like I said, World Cup is coming in next month. I'll at least fill out a World Cup bracket. But that's going to do it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sir Charles. I think you're biased, though. You think too positively of me. I'm not worthy of any of that. I appreciate it. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.